wanted to share this today. This is Psalm 24. And I want to preface it a little bit with something. The past few weeks, I've been feeling a sense of this psalm, particularly the end of it, where it talks about God breaking in and coming through. And last night, I really felt like the Lord spoke to me about this season being one of breakthrough and of new birth. And so I just want to read this psalm and then the words that I felt like the Lord is doing among us and going to do. So this is Psalm 24, verse 7. So wake up, you living gateways. Lift up your heads, you ageless doors of destiny. Welcome the King of glory, for he is about to come through you. You ask, who is this King of glory? Who is this glory King? The Lord armed and ready for battle, the mighty one, invincible in every way. So wake up, you living gateways, and rejoice. Fling wide, you ageless doors of destiny. Here he comes. The King of glory is ready to come in. You ask, who is the King of glory? He's the Lord of victory, armed and ready for battle, the mighty one, the invincible commander of heaven's hosts. Yes, he is the King of glory. And I will add, yes, he is our King of glory. And yes, he is in our midst, moving and doing wonders. So the words I was sensing last night, it was late, so they're choppy, but I feel like they're full of his spirit. Breakthrough is on its way. It's not just on its way, like in a distance. I felt like it's active. It's active things that we've been contending for. The presence of God we've been contending for. I felt like this morning as we worship, and there will be more worship after this, as to give us a chance to cling to these promises and the word with our heart and to worship. So I felt like this morning as we let ourselves go and enjoy his presence, that weights are going to drop off. I felt the words lighthearted and buoyant, filled with hope. And I just want to speak to just the word disheartened, despair, disappointment, and just speak the light of life and the fire of God's goodness and love, burning away all of those things that make us heavy. Hope, the word hope, not just hearing about glory, but experiencing glory. Our experience will not be one of God that's just wise and persuasive words, because that's not who he is. He's living and active. He's powerful. This won't be head knowledge, but experience of his presence. And I really felt these words, and this is going to sound weird, and executing of the darkness around us. Executing. He died and rose again so that we could experience the light of his life in our lives. And I saw an image of a rainbows around us and around our lives. And a rainbow is like the full spectrum of visible light. It's beautiful. And it's like this picture of the darkness being swallowed by the fullness of his glory and light. During worship, I sensed the strength to put whatever we're contending for, whether it's sadness or just a weighty feeling, a feeling of oppression, just to put that at his feet, to let go of the heaviness for a moment and to focus only on the one, to let everything else go. And as we do that, the things are going to lift off. Emotional weights, illness, oppression. There will be new light that we'll feel in our eyes. This is what he's doing. New light in our hearts. This is a season of new birth. This is a season of heavenly glory and heavy glory and kingdom come. And in the end, I saw an image. I kept feeling wind and fire. And you know, an axe angelic activity is described in wind and fire. And as I actually sent a little text to Casey because he was sleeping and it was nighttime when I was sensing this. As I shared it in the text, I saw an image of the congregation, and I felt like I saw angels all around, and they're here now because God is faithful to his word. And I saw their wings, and they were moving. But the wings, they were blowing wind. The wings were, as they flapped them, they were moving, and there was wind. And then I saw the fire of God, and it was moving. It was being blown by the wind, like activated. You know, when you add wind to a fire, that's how we get those blazing forest fires, you know? It just moves the fire. But I specifically saw the fire doing two things. One was purifying and transforming, and people's faces were glowing as they became like gold. And the second was I saw ropes that were on people. We all have stuff that we need to be freed from. Otherwise, I mean, it's impossible when you're on earth not to need more Jesus. And I saw those ropes being burnt up by the fire that the angelic wind was just blowing on and making bigger and bigger. And I also had this sense, hold on, I want to get this. I had this sense of that the ropes bound gifts that belong to people, like things that we've been contending for, like the story of Daniel when he prays and the angel comes and says, I was sent as soon as he started praying, but I was held up by the prince of Persia. There's battles going on. There are things that God wants to deposit in our midst, in our presence, in our world that we've been contending for that feel like they're not going to happen because we haven't seen anything yet. And I felt like right now, I really feel like this is happening as we go into this worship set. These angels are moving their wings and that fire is going, and there are gifts that have been held up that are ours, that he paid for, that belong to us, that are kingdom, that belong to us to transform our lives in the world, and the ropes that are withholding them are being burnt up as well. And all we have to do is just praise. As we let go and sing, there's something that's going to be happening. Yeah, that's the story, Morning Glory. So, let's worship. Let's worship in awe and wonder, laying the burdens at his feet. And let's just watch and move because he has a lot of gifts to give us. He has a lot of gifts to give us, and it's going to be continuous. It's not just today. I feel like this is a season thing. This is a season thing. During this season, signs and wonders and good gifts being released from heaven as we come and we bring our hearts in worship. And that's all we have to do. All we have to do is come and adore him, and it's happening.
The